more of a watch for me today. And it's a pleasure having you come on live stream. And it's a privilege to have a few guests also share the day with me. Already, I'm seeing Rogers Yakubu, who is online live. Let me appreciate you for coming on live. Thank you, Rogers, for coming on.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. We're expecting some other guests. We should be four in number, so we can have a robust discussion, particularly on the NSAS demonstration and then how it ties up to the concept of leadership. So I have Barnee coming on live. I would add him also to the stream so that we enjoy each other. Barnee, you are welcome.
Thank you.
All right. It's a pleasure having you this evening. Okay. So thank you both for coming. And I think we could probably just proceed while the others come online to join up and share in the discussions that we will be sharing this afternoon. Now, for those out there, this is Born to Lead, and basically Born to Lead is a platform that tries to discuss leadership from all aspects, from all ramifications. And the NSAS movement is one movement that one way or the other affects or influences or impacts on leadership. So that's why I'm calling my friends up here to hold this discussion with me. And by the way, for those out there who are seeing the faces as if everyone is frowning, let me just remind that everyone on the platform is my friend. And as friends, we usually fight. We have disagreements, but eventually we have agreements and we remain friends. So thank you once more for coming. So perhaps at this point, what I should do is to allow my guests introduce themselves, how best they want to be introduced, and just feel free to say whatever you want to say concerning yourself so that those who are joining us from outside will know those who are having this interaction with. So perhaps I'll start with Roger.
Oh, thank you very much for bringing me on the platform and for the opportunity to represent my generation. My name is Rogers Yakubu, and for now, I am simply a protester of NSAS for the NSAS movement in Nigeria. So I'll leave it at that.
Oh, all right, thank you so much. Barnee.
Good evening, all. It's actually funny that I don't know. Is my microphone fine?
You're good.
Sorry, my voice is a bit. My voice is cracked. My voice is a bit cracked. I've been out screaming and shouting. Oh, my name is
Barnee. Shouting for close to a week. It's understandable.
Anyways, my name is Barnee Ajanya. Okay, just like Roger said, I'm a fighter for justice in Nigeria, not just NSAS, justice in Nigeria and a perfect change for the whole country. Nothing more.
All right. Okay. All right. So thank you. So perhaps that would be a good starting point to say, what does NSAS mean to both of you or to any one of you? Any one of you can respond. What does NSAS mean? What does the movement and the demonstrations mean to you as an individual and as a generation or as a group?
Barney, do you want to start?
I think you should kick it off.
Okay. So I'll speak, and perhaps I'll be able to speak the minds and hearts of a lot of youths in Nigeria. So what the NSAS, actually the NSAS movement, the protest started as a kickback, as a kick against the endless killings by the units of the police force, that's SAS, Special Anti-Robbery Squad. But over time, it has metamorphosed into a whole lot of things, you know. So it's now, we're now talking about police reforms. We're now talking about inclusion. We're now talking about education. a whole lot of things. But what really started the movement is youths came together and they were like, you know what, we are tired, we've spoken, we've contacted the authorities, we have evidences with videos, with tales, with documented evidences that this is what that unit is doing to us. I mean, they just, for example, the tech community, all they have to work with is the laptop, and that's one of the target of the unit. They see you with a laptop and they confiscate, they harass you, and they extort you. There are documented cases of youths who have been extorted, and right after the money, their accounts were emptied, they were killed. They were murdered. So over time, we've spoken, we've used every medium possible to tell the authority, you need to nip this thing in the bud. This is what is happening. This is our reality. But it was almost as if there are some people who are not telling the government what they are supposed to tell them. And we've tried everything. We tried using the mainstream media, but it wasn't working. And all of a sudden, the youth decided, you know what, we are going to do this our way. And this thing started right on Twitter, and today it's beyond Twitter. It's everywhere. It's in the world. I mean, it's the #1 trending topic in the world for the past 5 days. So that's something. So it started as a voice kicking against the killing of youths by the Special Anti-Robbery Squad of the police, but now it has metamorphosed, like I said, to a whole lot of things.
All right, yeah. Thank you. Barnee, would you want to say something?
Okay. Yes, just a little, because he has said a chunk of what the NSAS movement is about. It's the metamorphosed side of it that many people are already started holding on to, because yes, as much as a lot of youths that are out there, and even those that are not even out there, online, wherever, have been affected. What youth, not just youth, every single person, from the old to the very young, little kids have been affected by it. It goes beyond just SARS or the police force in Nigeria. It's the governance of the country, and it has drawn so many minds to start thinking, if we continue like this, we're going into it. In fact, we've been in the ditch, then we started digging deeper into the ditch. So we're trying to help us to feel, yes, exactly. Because believe me, you hear, apart from the stories you read online, you need to hear people and see emotions from people physically. Then you understand how painful it has been for so many people. I have an example, 2 examples actually with SARS. 2. Let's talk about it anyways. And so but that's what, sorry?
Feel free to share the examples if you don't mind.
No, not here. I don't plan on saying it in the please. No, I don't want it documented. It's not something I want to always remember. That's what it means for many people, and it has metaphors beyond just SARS. People are now worried about public amenities, simple utilities, electricity, gas, water, roads, housing, education. Because we're just using the end SARS movement, end bad governance, to draw people's attention to understand that it's not just about the police force, it's the governance of the country, not just this leadership. The leaderships that have come and gone, and the ones that are coming now, and the ones that is even here right now. So we're trying to change the movement. And well, like for most of you that are online, Rogers, you especially, you can tell from the way things have been organized, we don't have a leader. We don't have a leader in anything. People are just simply doing stuff, and everything is working. In all of these protests, not up to 100 million has been spent, and things are working. Yes, people are uncomfortable. Even we ourselves, like my voice is even struggling, my body is in pain. But we're getting things done.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so I'm a bit concerned when you say 2 things. One, you don't have a leader, or there doesn't seem to be a leadership concerning this. And secondly, that things have been metamorphosing. So from end SARS to end bad governance and so on and so forth. Now, in that regard, beginning with the end bad governance, when these things continue to metamorphose, do you see any closure to these demonstrations? Do you see any end to these demonstrations? Because, and I say this for particular reasons, Nothing seems to be working. All right? Nothing seems to be working. From just any direction you look at, nothing seems to be working. Now, if nothing seems to be working, how do we see a foreclosure to these demonstrations? Or will these demonstrations continue ad infinitum, just continually?
Okay, so first thing, why we say there's no leadership over the time, what has happened is the government will say, okay, fine, give us representative that is going to talk to us, and then we delegate representatives. And what happens behind closed doors is actually not the representation of the youths in Nigeria. This time around, people got agitated and they were like, you know what? Nobody is representing us. They are killing us on the streets. If the government want to talk to us, they should come and meet us on the streets. Nobody is going to meet you behind any closed doors. A few people, including celebrities, have tried. They've gone to meet with the IG of police behind closed doors. It didn't work. It didn't work. Okay. The voice is on the streets. Come and meet us on the street. And it's not just so, like Barnee said, it's we are doing this collectively, and it's like mind, because everything from every protest across the nation, it's a uniform request. NSAS, like we said, it has metamorphosed to a whole lot of things. One of the things that it has metamorphosed into is we're saying we need a total overhaul of the police force. Of course, this is going to take some time, yes, but that's matter of that. For a couple of days, we brought out our 7-point agenda, 7-point demand, which the government needs to work with. And some of those demands is, the first one is we need an institutional reform of the security outfit of the country. The second one is we need to look into cost of governance. And the third one is constitutional reforms. And then we have educational reforms. And then we have youth affairs reform as well. And the last one is public office reform. Now, all these are the 7 mandates we're working with. And the government is saying, oh, we need to talk to somebody. We say, no, collectively, the youths of Nigeria, these are our 7 demands. And we have given it to the government to say, these are what we want.
Okay. All right. So I would ask a question in that respect. Now, first, how did you come about collecting these demands? Because if you didn't have, or if you don't have leaders, then my understanding is that it becomes a bit chaotic to be able to hear everybody speak. Okay. So how did you arrive at this demand? How did you collect them, and how are you presenting them to the government to respond to what your demands are?
So there are non-organized NGOs that have been working right before this protest starts. They've been advocating for the youths who have been affected by this SARS of a thing. Some of the and okay, this is it. It's going to sound crazy, but most of this research started on Twitter, and that's how we collated all these responses.
Exactly.
Now, this generation is using an entirely unorthodox method of research and development, and we collated all these responses from Twitter, and then we have working committees in every protest that is happening across the nations. Now, this is a uniform voice from across the nation and inclusive of Nigerians in diaspora. So there are NGOs, there are youth initiatives that have given their time and their resources to come up with policy documents for us to use, and then we adopted it across the nation, and again, inclusive of Nigerians, youths in diaspora.
All right. So, Barnee, wouldn't that be safe to then say that there is a collection of leadership, except that there are no pinpoint personalities running the groups? Because you've just mentioned...
no.
There are NGOs, all right? You've mentioned there are NGOs that have been advocating, and so you are probably channeling your discourse through the NGOs. There are persons in diaspora who have also been observing, and you are collating this. And my definition, again, this is the definition that Born to Lead holds on to, that leadership is influence. All right. It's not about holding office. It's not about taking position. It's not even about your education. It's about influence. So will it not be safe then to say that there are some collection of leadership, except that you do not want to put them in positional roles to say, these are the people who are leaders for these groups.
Exactly. You just answered the question. You answered the question. It's not like there isn't any leadership, but the Nigerian terminology of putting things around, we don't have a leader. There are people just basically standing in place to handle this, standing in place to handle. Like there's a group that is handling financing. There's a group that is handling medics. There's a group that's handling legal duties, logistics, and everything, feeding, welfare, all at the same time. But to say that there is one person running this movement, no. That's the thing. We are one, like Rogers also said, it's a uniform force. And the excuse of always, we need a representative, and then behind our backs, they now mess with their minds, maybe pay them off, and then they now go and then they are lost in the show of, these things can change later. That's what we're not after. That's why we would say we do not have a leader. We are one leadership. Because even, I was going to put it, yes, you were saying, say.
And to add to what Barnee said, one of the things we did was we intentionally decentralized the leadership.
Yeah,
so there's no central leadership. There are just, so to say, committees working, and they only respond based on feedback from the protests.
From the crowd,
you see, yes. So for instance, I'll give you an instance. In Abuja, it was said that, okay, no, we are not going to protest again. Why is the reason why we're not going to protest? Because we have violated the COVID-19. Oh, the working leadership. Oh, is that the case? Fine, then everybody come out with your face mask. This is it. What we do. And then, we change the strategy. Changed overnight. And mind you, there are people who are working day and night to ensure that this thing stays decentralized. Another instance is yesterday. So two things happened yesterday. The first protest was on the airport road. It was shut down till about 2 a.m. before the airport road was open. And while that was going on, there was a coordination unity fountain for a candlelight service for every single member that the SARS people have killed, or the Nigerian police force is responsible for their deaths. So you see, as a result of that, again, we were supposed to have a walk for today from Unity Fountain to Maitama Police Station, but overnight it changed, and now they are protesting where? In Barnex Junction. So there's no central leadership to say this is the reason why we're doing it, but there's just functions. Everybody's assuming function. It is dynamic. It's changing.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm sure you can read on the screen a comment from one of my stubborn friends I've always had for many years now. She's of my own generation, not your own generation, but she says this. I'm sure this will be some form of encouragement for everyone. Debbie is coming online with us, and I'll just ask that we include Debbie in our discussion. Debbie, you are welcome.
Hi, thank you. Sorry I'm late.
So Debbie is welcome, and thank you for joining us. I suppose it's echoing. Debbie, is this from your own end?
Is it? Yes.
Yes. Okay, so probably. All right, so let me just take this opportunity to not only welcome Debbie, but to announce to the house that today is Debbie's birthday. And so my guess is you were busy cutting the cake and you forgot to show up early. So let's give a round of applause to Debbie for a good birthday. You're welcome. All right, so Debbie.
Thank you. Barney, what?
All right. So Debbie, we were trying to. Can you switch off your mic so that? Okay. All right. I'm sure you can hear me. All right. So let me just give you a small background. All right. We've been discussing what NSAS means, and Rogers and Barnee have been sharing their experiences and understanding to say NSAS is just more or less, if I get you correct, it's just a tag, but it goes beyond ending SARS. It goes even to change of all, well, better governance, better infrastructure, better community for every one of us who are Nigerians. And I'm sure nobody will disagree with that perspective. But let me allow you, how does this resonate with you? What does this mean? What does the NSAS struggle mean to you?
Mr. Bako, this ends our struggle, ba.
Yes. So,
to me, it is light at the end of the tunnel.
All right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Very well.
Yes, very well. It is light at the end of the tunnel because, I mean, it's not just one way. There's the issue.
Is that your network?
Possibly.
Okay.
Most importantly,
so Debbie,
most importantly for me, it is being able to see my generation, to be able to see my peers stand up and fight for what we know is right. I am absolutely impressed by what's going on because, I mean, for so long, a lot hasn't been working and we haven't said anything about it. So this protest for me, apart from it being about ending police brutality, apart from it being an attempt to, you know, reform the police, it is seeing my peers speak up for what we know is true, for what we know we deserve. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Thank you. So it sounds again, Barnee and Rogers have mentioned the fact that if this is generational, all right, and so my question or my thought is driven towards thinking. Do you think that we are constrained as far as Nigeria is concerned because of the age bracket of our leaders, or those who supposedly are leaders and are sitting in leadership positions?
Sorry, I didn't get you. Could you take that question again?
Okay, I think it's because your mic is echoing. So if you switch off and I ask the question, probably you would understand me. All right, so this is the question. All right?
Yeah.
All three of you have mentioned generation. You talk about your generation.
Yeah.
Okay, so I ask, do you think that the situation with the Nigerian leadership is because of the age of the persons who are on or who are in leadership positions, or that there are other fundamental things that are the issues with those who sit in leadership positions, or those who have sat in leadership positions over the years? Any one of you could respond, actually. It wasn't meant for Debbie alone.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So this is my take. It's not about the age. It's not about the age. It's never about the age. All we're asking for is inclusion. Now, take this for example. You're talking about educational reforms, but you don't have young people in the discourse.
Okay.
What are you reforming? What are you reforming? You need to include the young people in the conversations about things that affect their lives directly. I mean, the Minister of Youth is over 40. I don't want to get there. You get. But at the end of the day, all we're asking for is inclusion. Yo, can you bring us to the table to be a part of these discussions? I'll give you an instance. The Human Rights, what's it called? The National Human Rights Commission in Nigeria.
Commission, yeah.
Yes, they wanted to have a discussion, a panel discussion today. And one of our conveners for the NSAS was informed, oh, you're going to be part of it. She has not given consent. She has not said, oh, I want to be a part of it. And next thing, there has been a paper out, oh, she's part of the panel. And she went to Twitter and said, no, I told you to give me some time to go through it and understand. But here is my name there saying I'm part of it. Unfortunately, she says she's not going to be a part of that discussion because already you're deciding for me. So what impact is my input going to make on that panel? Now, you see, those are some of the systematic things we're trying to address. It's not about the age, it's about inclusion.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Debbie. Okay, so perhaps I think the echo is short because your mic is short now. Thank you. Would you, do you have an earpiece nearby? So you just use the earpiece like Rogers and Barnee. Perhaps it will help out with the echo. Just a suggestion. And I hope that is inclusive. All right. So I get the feel, I have the understanding that you want to be included in, or at least the generation wants to be included in every form of decision that should be made. But I know, for example, and excuse me to take you down memory lane or historical lane, that over time, right from 1960 to say maybe 1999, we've had young persons who have basically either aspired for leadership positions or have been appointed into leadership offices and so on and so forth. And in my view, in my estimation, a number of them didn't do anything different from the older generation that they should have been doing or they should have been complaining about. And I give you some quick examples, all right? Some quick examples. The current president, all right, came in through a coup in sometime in 1983. Okay, he was barely 40 when that happened. In fact, when he was kicked out of office was when he turned 40. Okay, so we could consider him a youth at that age. The Amanayabo of one community in Rivers State, Diete Spieth, all right, was governor at the age of 23 years while he ruled over the old Rivers State. Coming to 1999, Salisu Buhari was barely 29 when he became the Speaker of the House of Representatives. But all of these persons did not seem to do anything different from what the older generation was exhibiting. What do you think is the situation? Or what do you think issues like that have arisen, so to speak?
I like the fact, sir, that you went all the way to 1960 to somewhere close by. Now, if you check it, let's even go to 1960. A number of those guys were all young, from Obasanjo to Gowon to Buhari himself, Abacha, a number of them. They were young guys, they were in their 20s, 30s. And that's where most of us are. Some of them did good, some of them did bad. Now, those same guys that did bad want to recycle and come back into the system to try and see if they can, I don't know if it's do good or chop down and run away again, but I don't know which one to call it. Because they say they are going to promise us better than what they did before, and then they come and they do worse than they did the first time. So I don't know what they're talking about. Now, we've seen this happen over and again, and if you check it, we're not trying to make the same mistakes they made. Like Roger said earlier, the way, first of all, this protest is even being run, it's not the systematic way of doing things that anything is working out right now. People are using the unconventional, the stubbornness, if I believe that word exists, or strangest ways of handling things. And for just the protest, things are working. It might be uncomfortable for Nigerians because, well, naturally, whenever you're trying to get things done, if you want to raise a very beautiful building, people have to sweat, people have to go through pain to get that building done. But when it's done, people live in it and they're comfortable in it. So yes, if we're going to start the building block from this point, in fact, for most of the talk that's been said over the protest, build this building, people have been saying, many people have, the common word I keep hearing is, we're not doing this for us, we're doing this for the generations to come. Because we might not enjoy it. At our young ages, we might not enjoy it at this point. Now, these guys, yes, we agree we're young. It's not, it's as much as it may be about the age. I think first of all,
Okay.
Many people want to be in the same circle of people that have been enjoying the wealth and the benefits of Nigeria, forgetting that there are people that have to enjoy in it. And then Rogers added the fact that we are not being included into it. The usual line that we always get is, "You guys are still young, you're still stupid. You go and eat your parents' food. We will take care of the country for you. You can't handle the country if not giving. Give us the opportunity. Let us make the mistake." They made the mistake,
Mhm.
right? And they came back and tried to
Yeah.
correct it, but they messed it up. Give us the opportunity to mess up. Let's
Okay.
make a mistake.
All right.
Like if I want to go into business,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
sure about making a mistake, right? So if I'm going to the business, let me make the mistake and I'll correct myself again.
All right. Thank you, Barney. And I agree with you. But let me even point out. So thank you, Debbie. Let me even point out, all right, for as long as you are human and for as long as you live, no matter or regardless of your age, you will continue to make mistakes. Okay? So I think that every leader out there must note this, that no matter how long you live on planet Earth, mistakes will continue to follow you. The difference between leaders who make progress and leaders who fail is how you turn around your mistakes or the lessons that you learn from your mistakes to ensure that you do not repeat these mistakes over and over again. All right? So, talking about that, the Arab Spring was a form of revolution that swept across the Arab world just barely 10 years ago. And in my estimation, and I think in the view or the eyes of the world, that revolution at some point came to a halt and left the nations somewhat worse off than when the revolutions took place. So, what, in your view, is the NSAS movement doing to ensure that we do not fall in that path, in that direction where you do a revolution, you change a generation of leadership, and then you get stuck, or you even put on a reverse gear and drive backwards? What, in this case, is the NSAS doing to ensure that we do not fall in that line of or in that direction? So perhaps Debbie would answer first, and then we go around in that regard. Debbie, are you with us?
I'm trying. Network is really bad. Yeah.
Sorry, this is the challenge with
and frustrating because like there's so much to say.
All right, so please just speak on. Okay. Perhaps Rogers can, if you remember what I asked, can you go in that direction?
Yeah.
So we'll go around.
So, to the best of my knowledge, I'll coin it this way: the Arab Spring was all about, can we stop this dictatorship and have a way and chart a way forward for the Middle East? Now, coming to Nigeria, one of the things we're doing to ensure that this is not just a protest that maybe will derail, or at the end of the day, we're not going to see an outcome. Like I said, we gave the government 7-point agendas. Now, if you remember, if you recall, the president said, the IGP said, oh, the SARS unit has been disbanded. And then all of a sudden, Nigeria wanted us to move forward. And we refused. We said no, because you can't keep giving us audio promises. First of all, if you say something like that has happened, let's see the policies in place. Okay, what are you going to do to the offenders? What is the next step? You bring out a policy document and a working document that outlines every single step of the thing you're going to do, right? Now, concerning this NSAS that embodies every other thing that we once effected in Nigeria, one of the things we said is, this is the 7-point agenda, and it's broken down. Now the government now is and we gave them, okay, fine, the working committee, you want to set, we have done the work for them. It's either for them to adopt or not to adopt, because we brought out the document and we said, and this is how we're going to do. You set up a committee. The committee has to have human rights, this has to have this young person, has to have a retired police officer. We have given them everything. All they need to do now is to say, okay, fine, you know what? We are going to work with this document. Oh, no, there are some inputs we need to put in, but there's a working document already. So first of all, one of the things they need to do, we need them to do, is acknowledge that, yes, this is a working document that you're going to adopt first. And then now, while it's being in work, ensure that you transform them into policies. From policies, you ensure that they are put into law. That's how you sustain it.
Yeah.
So we have a working document already that the government needs to adopt and work with.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone wants to speak on that too? Debbie? Barnee?
No, maybe just a line. Okay. Now, the interesting thing is that we have people like them, Rogers, that are I'm not much of a thinker. I'm more of a doer. Now, Rogers is in the team of thinkers, so I can understand why he has all these details perfectly. Believe me, Debbie, you need to meet Rogers. He's a big time thinker. Now, I'll give my experiences from the protests. Now, many people have been complaining. This is a blah blah blah. Okay, well, of course, protests are never comfortable. It affects both the protesters and even the innocent, and then the people who are protesting again. Now, interestingly, I've heard it more, just like Ruth said, I've heard it more among the protesters about how eventually, when all of this ends, what we're going to do next. The policies we're going to have to put in place. Yes, because I keep hearing policies and I'm like, oh, really? Well, this smart, really? I'm thrilled. And I keep hearing about policies that are going to be put in place. I keep hearing about amenities that are going to be fixed, think boxes that are going to be created so that Nigeria has to start working again. It will take a long while. But no matter how long it takes, we want it to start and not stop. In fact, one of the reasons why the protest is not even slowing down is because we don't want the momentum to drop. Yes, we've gotten threats from assassination, kidnaps, and whatnot, that if we do not stop, these things will happen to us. And man, guys are even getting more violent with it. And when I say violent, I don't mean that. I mean in their minds. Oh, really? Like when he said, when FCT said that we're going against the COVID-19 laws. Like, okay, no masks. Everyone during the protest. As in, we're not up to 200 that started the march. By the time we got to City Gate, we were over 2,000 people. And by the time we finally stopped at Lugbe Express, the crowd was uncontrollable. Do you understand? So people are tired. People are really tired. And it's not just about the protest, really. It's about what we're going to start doing. The people that are going to now stand in place as governors, presidents, senators, and so on. No, we're not thinking about just fighting and standing on the streets. So no, we like AC. Believe me, we like to sit down and think and talk about how we can fix this country. So it's there. It's in the.
Okay. All right. Debbie, I see you smiling. You want to speak on that?
Mr. Wako, you know, the truth of the matter is Nigerian youths are tired.
Just speak on.
We are tired, Mr. Bako. We are tired. We are tired. We are tired of the talk. We are tired of the bobo gisting. We are tired. Me, I'm tired. So the end as in when I heard, in fact, when I heard that they said that the government has heard us, there's no more SARS, blah blah blah, then in the same statement you are telling me that there is SWAT. Like, what do you think, as in, is it fufu that is in our brain? Like, what do you think is going on? You're not even giving us respect to even say form that you are thinking and say, okay, maybe after 2 months we'll say we're forming SWAT. You're in the same statement. Are we mad? So these are the kind of things that gets me upset, because the Nigerian government, they don't only think, it's not even about inclusion. Like, I'm not even saying vote us into office or whatever, but is that how stupid that you think we are? You think our input is so useless that do you think, are we sucking bottles? Like, what do you think is going on? So is this same rage I honestly believe that every youth that is out protesting has? Because the Nigerian government, we're not even us is coming out to say that that the Nigerian government is sensitive of Nigerian youth. What sensitivity? What are they talking about? I don't know what they are talking about. Barney, do you know what they are talking about?
I don't know. I don't
I
know.
do not.
Do you know what they are talking about? I don't know what they are talking about. So
How?
as far as I'm concerned, this protest will continue it until we literally see, just like Roger said, we literally see policies, we see things, we know how to hold you accountable by what you're saying. It's not a matter of you people should not worry, we'll take care of it. We're tired of that story. So
No more.
as far as I'm
taking care of
concerned,
it
that is what
ourselves.
is fuel. That is the petrol that is being poured on our fire.
Yeah.
You're not even giving us the benefit of doubt to even think that we have small sense in our head. You don't think that.
Okay.
So the protest will continue, sir, until the Nigerian government understand that we're not babies. We're not babies.
Yeah.
All this story of you're not big enough for government, you're not ready for office. It's okay. They can keep the office. They should be doing the office, but they will keep to our demands. We will not keep
Yes, so
quiet.
that's all.
Oh yeah, Debbie, it just looks like your network is robbing us off of your very fantastic ideas.
She has a lot to say.
As in, she has a lot to say.
Debbie is bottled up, and I thank God that I'm giving you space to ease off a bit, to express yourself. And like, what's that, Barney? What's that popular, famous drink again that people use in celebrating victory on football fields? What's that drink again?
Champagne.
She's busting bubbles.
All right. So this is an atmosphere and platform for you to bubble out and still remain some so that you can continue with the protest. But let me ask this. And drawing from what Rogers has mentioned, you've mentioned that there are policy or at least documents that will guide whoever should be responding to your cries
Demands.
to do what, or to your demands, to do what they ought to be doing. My thought is, wouldn't this have been a much more quicker process if you took this, for example, to the National Assembly and insisted that they take a look at these documents and pass them into law? Because you've mentioned that it needs to be law for it to be effective. And I can say to you as a lawyer, okay? I can say to you as a lawyer, there are 1,000,001 laws that are in our books that are not operational and will never be operational. So I'm a bit confused when you say you need these things to be taken into policies and then made into laws so that generations come, they do not change. I'm a bit confused and a bit concerned. So that's why I'm
all right. One of the things there is even the lawmakers, we are coming for them. We are coming for them because one of the demands also is we dissected their pay and we're saying, one of the reasons we're not justifying what the police is doing to young people, but we're saying one of the reasons the police is doing what they are doing is because they are grossly underfunded. So now we are demanding.
No, sir, you're using English. They are broke.
The law. They are broke. So we're demanding a pay cut. We want political office to be based on the impact you want and not because of what you're going to get from those offices. Now there are three things. There are three things we have decided we are going to do. Number one is, that document is definitely going to get to the House for them to put it into law. But if it gets to the House, so 3 stages. First of all, let the government agree we are going to adopt this. Second of all is set up the committees to start working on that. And thirdly, take it for them to put it into law. Now, when it gets to the law, we have agreed unanimously that if it gets to the House and anybody who is not going to implement, because definitely we're expecting a fight and we're ready. Anybody who is not going to implement it, the law has a provision for how we are going to recall lawmakers. We are going to recall them back.
Yeah.
we are going to recall them because it is definitely going to get to the House for implementation and passed into law. But we are already ready. Let me put it that way. We are already ready that when it gets there, it is going to be fought. And again, when it's being fought, there are, see, so it's like we have step one, we have plan A, we have plan B, we have plan C, we have plan Z. This time around, no going back.
Yeah.
All right.
Interestingly, we've already tried plan Z, but it didn't work. Well, hey, what can we say? Yes, now we've gone to their gates. We've gone to their gates several times and made them to read these policies and still, but they never gave us the chance to go in to meet anybody. So they stop us at the gate.
They send representatives.
Yeah, they send representatives, and they just come with promises and speeches and like, dude, we've been hearing this for decades. Is it today I'm going to try it again? Some of us, in fact, so they already calling some of us that are in our 30s old, that were not meant to be this generation of people that are fighting for the change in Nigeria, that were already old. Well, in our fathers, yes, they say we are too old. We should be fighting in our parents' generation. So we should calm down. It's the ones that are in their 20s and below that should be fighting. So believe me, we've tried it. We've tried plan Z.
Oh, okay. Perhaps they are saying that because at one time they were, or on two occasions actually, the House of Reps was led by people who were just barely 30. Dimeji Bankole was just about 31, 32 when he became Speaker of the House of Reps. I've mentioned Salisu Buhari. So perhaps that's why they are thinking you're already as old as I am. And by the way, let me correct this. My friend Victoria mentioned earlier on that she and I are not of the same generation, and I concede because she's 7 years older than me. She's 7 years older than me, and I give that to her. So she's of an older generation. I can't be of our own generation. Thank you. So this comment from Peter Genome Stephen, who says, "Well done, guys." Comments are coming in. As they come in, I'll let them fly. Now, because of want of time, let me ask this: if again, I'm cautious to ask because I honestly do know that you do not need to be in an office to make a difference. Okay? I honestly do know that Nigeria does not require everyone to aspire for political office or to aspire for any principal post to be able to make a difference in the nation. But I ask this because, again, somehow, whether we like it or not, those who are policy makers tend to have some level of strength the world over any other person who is outside, except, of course, if you file pressure the way you're doing. So I asked the question, what would you do differently if you were in any political office, say the office of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
Okay. I'll speak for myself here. First of all, I don't want to be the president of the nation. Okay.
Hold on. Debbie, can you switch off your mic again? All right, thank you, Debbie. And by the way, before you came on, I just asked a question. What would you do different if you were, say, for example, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? So Rogers is answering now, and then it will come to you. All right, Rogers.
So first of all, National Orientation Agency, right? It's an agency in Nigeria here. Now, there has to be a total overhaul of orientation. Let me and permit me to say this. The older generation, right? Even myself, I'm not considered young when it comes to the Gen Z. They say, oh, you're the older part. But yeah, we're all youths, we're all old, whichever term qualifies. But this is it. There's this divide between the older generation and the younger generation, right? The way this generation is working is totally not accustomed to what the older generation is aware of. But that doesn't mean it's not working. I'll give you an instance. For example, just a couple of days ago, a tech company in the United States bought over a tech company here in Nigeria. I don't want to mention names. We're not advertising. They bought a tech company here in Nigeria. They bought it for the sum of $200 million. Now, that's a lot of money. Do you know what that means? Now, one of the founders of that software they bought, he has dreads on his head. Now, if the older generation believes that dreads, tattoos, and piercings are not supposed are illegal. You see, we have a fundamental problem. When we bring it to the church, we have the likes of Travis Green who have dyed their hairs. You know, they sing, the spirit comes down, and our churches here in Nigeria call them in, and then they lie down because the spirit is there. But coming back home here, you don't want to accept the same people. Oh, you see it as illegal. So you see, there is an orientation change that needs to happen. First of all, if I ask 3 to 5 youth, what does your constitution say? I bet you majority of us don't know. Now, that's the orientation. It has to be it in Hausa, English, use whatsoever thing possible. Let the constitution let it be free, let it be playful, let it be something that people can engage. Orient the people, let the people know about all these things. Government has a lot they are doing, but the people don't know about it because they feel, oh, it's almost like there's a secrecy. You see, there has to be a culture change. There has to be an orientation of a lot of things, because majority of the things we're implementing are things that literally have stopped working like 10 years ago. And that's why we keep having backlogs of unfunctional things in the country. So there has to be an orientation, a total orientation entirely in the country.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Debbie, over to you.
Yes, sir.
So, being the president of Nigeria,
what would I?
Yes, what would you do differently?
So it might sound funny, but
correct.
I would fear God.
Okay.
I would fear God. That's the first thing. That's the first thing. I honestly think that our governments, our politicians do not fear God. They don't fear God. They don't have respect for the people that they are leading. They are not a government for the people. That's the truth of the matter.
Okay.
And I understand that the president can't do everything, and it might be unfair, to heap everything on him. But just like his slogan says, that change begins with you. Change begins with them as well. If we have a government that at the core of it is there for the people, a lot of these issues, people will do the proper thing. People will be decent human beings. We would have decent leaders, people that youth don't have to beg you for you to hear what they are saying. Being inclusive in a process would not be a problem. So I honestly think that we need to change. We need to change our mentality. We need to change our mentality. And one of the good things about this protest is that this protest will if it will not put the fear of God, if you don't have the fear of God, this protest will put the fear of Nigerians in you. If you know that there are people that are going to hold you accountable, if you know that there are youths that will come and shut down the streets, if you are not afraid of God, you will be afraid of the people.
Oh, dear.
Stupid, but I honestly think that as a leader, if I were to be president of this country, I'll put my people first. I would do my absolute best to put my people first, to honestly serve my people. That would be what I would do differently.
Okay. Thank you so much, lady and gentlemen. One of the gentlemen has, I don't know what has happened to him. But again, let me ask this in attempting to close. At the moment, all right, well, but I think the report is correct because I've seen pictures and I've gone through. I understand that the Lagos state governor joined the Lagos protest yesterday. So I'm a bit concerned. Is it not driving towards politics? So what are the conveners, so to speak, of the NSAS movement and doing to ensure that politicians do not hijack this struggle from the youths in the country? Any one of you can respond, please.
Rajas, you want to answer that?
Go first.
Because
go first.
Okay, because speaking for me, Mr. Bako, I know it might be sounding sentimental or whatnot.
Yeah.
there's nothing a politician is going to tell me now. There's no sweet mouth a politician is going to sweet mouth me now. I'm tired of talk. All I want to see is action. So I don't know how they will break our ranks. I honestly don't know how they will break our ranks, because it is in fact a sentimental thing. It is not a matter of bag of rice we are getting today or salt we are getting. We want to see change, and we want to see change now. So I honestly don't know. And as a matter of fact, like I heard someone saying that the federal government is having issues with dealing with this protest because we don't have one leader. There's not like a group of leaders that you can go and talk to and everything. So unless you can take a mic, stand in front of the whole of the people, the whole of the protestants, and sow your seeds of discord, I honestly don't know how a politician is going to break through. So I mean, speaking for myself, there's no gist they are going to gist me. All I want to see, for instance, I want to know that SARS has ended. I want to see the people that are going to be persecuted, how they are going to be persecuted. I want to know how those families are going to pay. There's no other story other than that story that I'm hearing. So that's for me. I don't know about other people, but we're tired of talk. And politicians, what they know how to do is talk.
Okay. So when Sanwo-Olu went and he was protesting with them, already that's so shameful and so disgraceful, because there you have somebody who has the authority to put some things in place, but he is joining the protest. I'm not even going to say it's political here, right? Because people were, the only reason why Sanwo-Olu came out, there was deaf silence. The only reason why he came out is because the police were shooting at protesters. There were intimidations. People were hiring thugs to disperse crowds. And all of a sudden, it got to him because, you know why? We touched the money. Because there was a total shutdown. The money was not forthcoming. And then that was when he came out. Now, talking about him trying to politicize this or anything, at the end of the day, he came out, he said, yeah, we are with you. But unfortunately, we didn't want it to get to this level that the youths would not believe in the system. But unfortunately, that's what's happening right now. Whether he means good or not, we don't know. But I believe I speak to majority of the youth, and honestly, there is no trust between the youth and the system or the government right now, the leadership. So he came, maybe he meant good, but people didn't buy it and like, oh, okay, yeah, you're here, okay, fine, be with it. I'll give you another instance. Showore came out and everything, but because he's also an aspiring politician, people say, you know what, dead don't matter. They're moving out. Majority of people have not, like the slogan, maybe you've heard it. A lot of us have been saying Buhari has been a very bad boy. Buhari has been a very bad boy. Buhari
very, very bad boy.
Every other politician, they have been bad boys.
They're very, very bad boys. A Yahoo government.
All right. So I still go back to that question to say, what will you do to ensure that it doesn't end up being political?
Okay, sir. So let me speak first on that.
If the politicians are beginning to show face, tendency is that some other governors will replicate what he's beginning to do. And my thought is that at some point, some states may begin to cave in. So what do you do to ensure that this doesn't happen?
Debbie says something very important. You know, one of our demands is disband SARS, which they have audibly saying we have done that. The next thing we demanded is, so all those people that have been that are guilty, prosecute them. Yes, prosecute them. That's number 2. The next thing is, every family that has been affected, you need to compensate them. Now, body language speaks a lot. You see, when our 7 demands were being translated to the president, he laughed. Oh,
yes. And that was very bad.
Now, the youth did not take that lightly, which means at the end of the day, you are not even taking us serious. You get now. To ensure that this does not turn out to be a political thing, the president has to give an executive order. Now, actions. Set up a committee. We have given them guidelines, the type of committee, the people that are supposed to be in part of those committee. So number, a retired judge, a retired police IG, and all that. We have given them everything and it's going to be an open thing. There is no secrecy again. There has to be accountability and there has to be trust. So it has to be an open thing. So at the end of the day, set up committees that are going to work on that, and we have to be fully involved in the committee because it's all about us. That's one of the way I see that it's not going to be political, and it has to be transparent, and that's why we're saying media has to play a very, very big role in it. So it has to be open.
Okay. All right. So thank you, gentlemen. Perhaps two more questions, then maybe. Barnee, you said something.
Gentlemen and lady.
Oh, sorry. I called lady earlier on, so I thought it has stuck to my lips too. But lady and gentlemen, Debbie and gentlemen.
Mr. Bako, it's okay. There's no problem. In this case, we are all the same.
All gentlemen.
Yes, we are all gentlemen. There's no problem.
All right. But my apology over that. So, ladies and gentlemen, two quick things. First, I do know, all right, this is a historical fact, that there is no movement, there is no revolution that was commenced spontaneously. Every one of them was planned, even though in executing, it seemed some spontaneous thing. So even in this case, I do believe that there are people behind the background who are pushing this, all right? I may be wrong, but if history serves me right, that's what I know about such movements and such events. But let me ask this question. You've heard also that the northern governors, all right? The northern governors are pushing to say, we want SARS. We don't want an end of SARS or an end to SARS. And I will think that it's not ill-motivated, because basically a chunk of the northern part of Nigeria, especially the northwest and the north, are being taken over by, well, the northeast, of course, by Boko Haram, the northwest by bandits within the bush. And I know for a fact that it is SARS who is fighting the bandits in the northwest. So I hear the governor say that they do not want an end to SARS. If you were in a position to advise them, what would your advice be? Would you disagree with their position? And if yes, why? And if no, what then would you be saying to them? Barnee, over to you. I see your hand.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to answer your question, but in a strange way, because I kind of stayed in the northern states for like 4 years in a proper not eastern states, Gombe, for a while, and in many parts of the north, the guys that do most of the hard work are military men, soldiers. Now, the police officers might be a little bit of trouble because, well, on a daily basis they collect bribes. Now, the SARS officers that go into those regions, like we always hear, the very common things they have as problem for youth is that they're driving expensive cars, you have an expensive laptop, or even a laptop, or your phone is more expensive than they themselves. So they have a problem with it. It's a problem for people from the middle belt down, from north central down. Now, in the north, it is a natural thing for a northern boy to be driving an expensive car, but their parents have this kind of car. So they will not necessarily go after those people. And in most situations, most SARS officers that are sent in those parts of Nigeria actually are sent on special operation. I actually even have a friend that's a SARS officer that always travels between Sokoto, Yobe, Borno, like that, in the north, because he's in one of their it's SARS, their special units. So he's one of those special units, and those are the ones that actually are working. That's why I won't blame the northern part for them to say they should not disband SARS. But what I will tell them is, you guys are enjoying it because you guys are getting the best of it, or most of the best of it. But think about it, you're not the only people in Nigeria. There's a large chunk of Nigeria struggling. So how are you going to help the South enjoy as much as you guys are enjoying? So first of all, like we've been saying, this bans out. Because if more than 50% of a group is messing the whole group up, in fact, if one spoils egg, if let's give an example, you're trying to fry eggs and then you crack like 7 eggs, and then the last one you now crack, the 8th one is now spoiled, it's rotten. Please tell me, how can you fetch just that rotten one out to save the rest of it? You can't. The rest of it is spoiled. You have to toss everything out. So
oh dear. Barney, I just okay.
Sorry about that. Kick all of them out. Get those that are guilty. Put them in prison, or if they have to be killed, kill them. But I don't agree with that. And then those that have been doing the right thing. Yes, because actually SARS is a part of police, right? But all of them have gone back into the police force. It's not like it is just that unit that has been disbanded. So yes, they're still physical. They're still doing their jobs. Get those guys to book. And then if you want to really create a proper unit that will handle all these special situations, get them. But not right now. All of a sudden, SARS, what? So yes, that's what I'll tell the northern governors, because many of them don't know what is going down in the south. They don't know the problems. And then another thing to it, as much as many people don't like to say this part, there's a very, very, very high level of illiteracy with the north. So many of them, whatever they are told, they believe, especially from their leaders. So they do not know the details or the nitty-gritty of what's going on around Nigeria in general. I saw one picture of one of the protests, and then I think some of the banners were standing straight. Then like 3 of the guys were holding their placards upside down in the picture. They did not know what they were doing, and there were several pictures like that. I was like, don't these guys know that they're holding upside down? They were saying, "We want SARS," and like, but your placard is upside down. Do you understand? So it's these are some things that's actually affecting the north, and as much as it's a good thing for them, they should think about the rest of Nigeria. It's not just about one part of Nigeria. I have a friend that doesn't even know. She has never been affected by police. Yes, police, not even SARS. Police. She doesn't know what has happened to police. But the way she's fighting for the disbandment of SARS, you think that they killed her father and mother in front of
her. Okay. All right. Thank you. Anyone wants to advise the northern leaders on that also?
So I know Debbie is from the if you,
yeah.
So first of all, state policing, right? Because if you're insisting, oh, we need the SARS, no, each and every state has their own security votes, so to say. You have money for security. So if you want it, let the federal government agree to state policing. Whoever wants it, set up your police. For instance, in Kaduna, although they are not fully functional like that, but you have the Castella, Lagos State has Loma, and the rest of that. You have state policing already. So it's just for government to assent it and say, okay, you know what? We agree for the creation of state policing. Let every state handle their security problem by themselves. Stop. It should be decentralized. Security should be decentralized. I believe the only policing, there should be state policing, but army is central, definitely down. But state policing, let there be state policing, and every state take care of it. That way, the northern governors will take care of their security issues and not to depend, because you take huge chunks of security vote, and at the end of the day, you don't put it into use. So they should use that security votes and fund the state policing.
All right. You struck a chord in Debbie's, in Barney's mind. Okay, and he seems very excited about the last point that you made. Thank you, Barney, for sharing your. Thank you. Well, I've always had an issue actually with security votes. I've never understood what it meant, even though I worked with a security organization many years ago. I've never really understood what security vote is and why state governors who don't have security apparatuses should be having, security apparatuses should have votes for security. Okay, I really don't understand it. And I also don't understand why You say we don't have state police, but like Rogers pointed out, we have Loma, we have Castella, we have Hisba, we have some other things that look like state police, but then we say we ban or we stop state police from operating. So I honestly don't understand that whole logic. But Debbie, you are from the Northeast, and perhaps you would want to advise your governor. And by the way, your governor seems to be one of the most vibrant in the nation. I don't know if it's about politics concerning second term or not, but it seems to be active and pursuing policies that the people seem interested in. But if you were to advise the northern governor as to whether they should end SARS or not, what would your advice be?
Network in Nigeria. Oh,
Debbie is frozen.
network.
Well,
Network in Nigeria. Telecom.
talking about
internet.
network in Nigeria, and agreeing with you, you know that I usually use a particular network for my internet, but over an hour ago it's been frozen. Well, maybe 2 hours ago it's been frozen. I have to use an alternate network right now, so that's what I've been using for this broadcast. Anyway, these guys seem to be vanishing one after the other, and perhaps it is time to draw the curtain. Barnee, if you have a final word, what would your final words be?
First off, if you're out there, keep protesting.
Mr. Bako, sorry. I went off. Oh, sorry, Barnee. I'm sorry. Let Barney finish talking. I'm listening.
No. Believe me, I was going to just finalize what I had to say. So you just answer his question.
Your question was what?
Your advice to northern governors who are saying they do not want SARS to end. And I say I understand with them because SARS seems to be working up north. But what would your advice be?
Mr. Bako, my question, I don't have an advice. My question is, what are we saying? Are we saying that without SARS, people, without that unit, lives and property cannot be protected? Is that what our government is saying? If that's what our government is saying, then the whole world will know that we are really in trouble. You cannot scrap, you're telling me that if you scrap SARS, the whole world will fall apart. Is that what you're saying? So if that's the situation, then that police reform is very important. It simply means that we really need that police reform. I don't know about SARS working. In fact, in the Northeast, it's not just SARS. The military is there. Police is there. What do you call it? JTF is there. So I don't understand what they are saying. It doesn't make sense to me.
You forgot to add civilian JTF because there is JTF for the government.
Thank you. So literally, even the civilians now have joined. You are telling me that without SARS now, the Northeast will crumble. Is that what we're saying?
Well, maybe that's what they are thinking.
That's ridiculous. Then we're in trouble. Then we're in trouble. We're in serious trouble. Then maybe what Trump said was actually a prophecy. If you're telling me that without us, Nigeria will fall apart.
Okay. So let's not go to Trump because I see Barnee already in shock. I see Barnee already in shock. So let's not go to Trump. But by the way,
Mr. Bako, the way Barnee is shocked is just how I am shocked when I hear governors saying that they don't want SARS to end. And it's just like I said, right? If the eye is bad, if one eye is bad, is it not the whole body that goes to the hospital?
Exactly.
So you cannot say that you are a country, you are Nigeria. You can imagine the mass of people, the mass is coming out and complaining about SARS, and then you are telling us that you don't care about that side of the country. It doesn't make sense. That's one of our problems in this country. So I don't know. It's just like I said, they should go and fear God. They should fear God. They should learn to be to be decent human beings. They should fear God.
Okay. So
Thank you, sir.
your final words, any one of you, your final words, just to round up this session, your final words. And thank you, by the way, for your own time with me on this platform. It's been quite interesting. I suppose that a number of people have taken time to view this. Some are going off and coming on, but it's been interesting. So what will your final words be?
Let me talk before that, so Debbie can finish everything, because she has a finishing touch to everything. Just like Peter just said, in fact, it was the thing I actually wanted to say. Peter just said the leaders are not in touch with people at all. Now, the first I was going to say before this was people should not stop protesting in any way possible. If I protest to your parents so that they will protest to the people that are in front of them, don't stop protesting any way possible, because the governance is messed up everywhere, even to our streets. As little as the bikemen, it is that bad. The governance is that bad. Corruption has eaten so deep. So we need to wash it out. Yes, there are still good people in this country, because for the protests to be going on, people still picking later. There's something, believing there's still good people. Anyways, that's one. And then two, the government really is not listening to us. I think they're just hearing what we're saying, but they're not listening. And with that, like, we've been going round and round. They think we're jokers, but we're not jokers. We're not good. In fact, they are the big clowns. We might be jokers, but they are the clowns. And this fight will continue, even if it gets 2023. We'll continue if it gets 2020. Which other one is after that one? That one, the other year, the one that will follow for the next election. And yes, one other thing, INEC, please open your offices, because we need our PVC so we can get you out of office. We don't even be there again. I've been trying to apply for PVC for the past 8 years. I still have my temporary card with me. They don't give my permanent card.
Really?
So they should open the offices now so that we can start. Yes, I have a temporary card to get my PVC. They've been telling me that they've not printed it yet. Anyway, so we need our cards so that we can get them out of office. We're more than enough to take care of ourselves. We don't need it.
All right. Interesting. Thank you, Barnee. Debbie, your final word.
My final word, Mr. Vako, is that this protest shouldn't just be for the youths. Everything that we're doing is for the betterment of Nigeria. It is frustrating when you hear older people say, it's the youths, they are out there and everything. If this country gets better, we're all going to enjoy it. So I would expect that we would all be out there. That is what I expect. We're not asking for the impossible. We're asking for things that we deserve. The older, the younger generations unborn. If we're fighting for Nigeria, let's all come out and fight for Nigeria. If you're not coming out to protest, please do not discourage those that are coming out too. Don't say, you people, this thing you're doing, no, it will never work, or it will never happen, no. Please, we're doing it for the betterment of our country. We're doing it for everybody. So my final word would be, if we're fighting for Nigeria, let's all fight for Nigeria. It's not a youth matter, it's a Nigerian thing. That's my final word.
All right. Thank you to both of you and Rogers who have just left. I suppose it's network issues that are taking off the platform. For me, again, I would emphasize that leadership is about influence. It's not about holding position. It is not about being in a status. All right. Whatever place you find yourself right now, you should have the ability, the capacity, and strength to be able to make an effective change wherever you find yourself. If I were to advise, my first advice, and perhaps the last advice concerning reforms, is that we need state police right now, because I think that governors should not be given funds for security when they do not provide security. I think that those funds are usually used for, again, I know this as a matter of fact, that a lot of them are party goers, and those funds are used to harass young men and women, spread funds here and there just to show strength and power. Nigeria needs a change, there is no doubt. Nigeria needs to lift itself beyond its current situation. It's a painful and sad reality that we are in a position that we should not be at the moment. the world, and not just Africa, the world is looking up to Nigeria for leadership. And I think that this is the time to take leadership back to the world, because the world expects much from Nigeria. And you know what? Interestingly, God in heaven expects greater things from Nigeria, looking at the resources that have been so poured in this nation. Thank you, gentlemen, and thank you, lady and gentlemen, for the time with you. And I'm sure I'll find some other time to perhaps discuss these issues with you. As the protests continue, if there's a need for you to be back on platform, I will inform you. And I do beg that you leave your doors and windows open so I can intrude at any time and get you back on the platform. Thank you for the wonderful time.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye. All right. Okay, so that's been a discussion from one to lead, and it's a privilege that I've had these friends share their thoughts with me. Just in case there are things that you do not agree with from all of the discussions, please feel free rather to make your comments, and at some point I will respond to the comments. There are some of the things that they mentioned that are clear, are obvious, are real, are factual, they are truths, and nobody can debate them. And I think that we must give ears to some of these cries. There are some that may not be agreeable. But I think that one thing that Nigeria needs is that we need to have open ears for everybody to be able to speak and everybody to be heard, regardless of what generation you belong to. Thank you for your time, and do have a blessed evening, even as you continue to think and reminisce over the discussions that we've had. Have a blessed day. Cheers.